for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Nikki Maduro. She's Kim McAllister. Thank you for joining us. It's been another crazy week in America, but we are here with our cocktails. David, where is Kim's cocktail? I know you were listening.
I think he's taking a nap. He's
Wake
falling
the
down
hell
on the
up,
job.
David.
I know.
Wake the heck up. I know my husband had to go back to work, so I'm like, are you going to make me my cocktail before you leave, please? You guys click that thumbs up button before we start the show, and I want to say thank you, by the way, to Vicky, who came in with a $10 donation before the show even began.
What?
Thank you, Vicky and Sausalito. We love being here and doing the show. You're freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Love really you guys so much for being here. You are awesome. Mm-hmm. We are 100% crowdfunded. We say this every single time because we are. You can find everything, the ways to support the show at the NikkiMaduroShow.com, but our Patreon, our PayPal, which we love, and of course the super chat like Vicky did, super stickers. Those are the ways to support the show during the show. And we always read your comments and we love our comments. And there's lots to comment about. But Sandy, I saw your comment before the show about the creepy guy that had followed you in the parking lot. Glad you're okay. She says, hi, friends. Just got harassed by a creepy guy in a parking lot. Pretty scary. Home now. I'm telling you, this happens. I don't know where you live exactly, Sandy. I don't know if I don't know what city you're living in the Bay, but this happens all the time. I feel like more often to me. And I don't know if it's because I seem friendly or I make eye contact with people, but like, I swear to God.
First rule of city living, never make eye contact with anyone. Never.
But the last time it happened, I was with Marley and we were walking to a concert. What concert was it that we were going to? I think it was Harry Styles actually. And we were walking and he was probably in his 20s, seemed homeless, don't want to judge, but seemed like he was either homeless or just kind of rough around the edges. And he was like, where's everybody walking to? And I was like, oh, it was one of those things where I could totally avoid you or I could seem to answer your question. I'm like, oh, everyone. And there's a lot of people around. I felt safe, but I was like, oh, everyone's going to the Harry Styles concert. And it was one of those situations where my kid's here on the other side, but it's just, what do you do in those situations? Oh, Sandy's in Willow Glen, my neck of the woods, but it happened at Coleman and Taylor near Target. Yeah. And in a parking lot, like, what do you do? Kim, what do you do?
First of all, don't make eye contact. You learn that living in San Francisco. I know it sounds really horrible, but tunnel vision. If you see on the periphery something's going on, there's somebody with a danger on their face, like danger.
Yes,
danger is lurking nearby, and you try your best to ignore it and walk fast and don't make eye contact and get yourself out of the situation. Although I really like Teacher Lori. I've used the look crazy routine on Muni and Bart in San Francisco. When someone near or next to me, it worked really well. That's awesome.
Exactly. I mean, and then God forbid, right? Something happens. I was watching, okay, and this is really disturbing, right? But I was watching, has anyone seen that? Oh, you see? I knew David would wake up.
Tiny kamikaze right now.
Whatever. Thank you, David.
Well, because I had the big
one.
Cheers to you. Thank you. Thank you. I waste it, he says. So I get a teeny tiny one.
I don't care.
Alcohol abuse when you waste it.
No alcohol abuse. See, exactly. M. Night Shyamalan has this movie. It's a trilogy, but it's called Split. It's the second in the trilogy of Unbreakable. Then there's Split, and then there's Mr. Glass. And there's this disturbing scene in Split where one of the girls is being like kind of pulled away by the bad guy, right?
No.
And one of the other girls that's there just looks at her, and I'll never forget it because it's so true. She's like, pee on yourself, like, because you want to make yourself gross,
unattractive. Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I was like, and it's always kind of stuck with. It's a kind of an older movie, but it's always kind of stuck with me as like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, do something that's going to make yourself really unattractive to whomever's grabbed you. You know what I mean?
She managed to get in her car and lock the door, but he was standing by my window saying nasty things to me until some other people came and got him to back off. okay, that's a little
Yeah, that's scary. I'd be on my phone by that point. I'm
that's a
like,
little
unless you
more
leave
than
me the hell alone. Yeah.
that's more than there's someone creepy around. That's like
No, yeah.
that's close to an assault. He's in your space saying some stuff to you. I don't like that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad you're
remember
okay, Sandy.
my sister-in-law used to sell female like kind of designed protection equipment like tasers and stuff. And I
Mhm.
remember she was in Kentucky. I remember she told me the story, something similar. Some guy came up to her at the gas station and she like literally like zzz, like, we have a problem?
Yep.
Like, I have this in my hand. Walk the hell away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have called 911 if somebody was like at my car kind of verbally assaulting me.
Yep.
I'm glad you're okay, Sandy. But
Heather
that's
says, if you
yeah.
stand still and stare silently right into their eyes, sometimes they'll get uncomfy and they'll leave.
That takes some bravery though. Oh my God. Yes. SJ Lola, I'm exactly like you. I'm super tiny and I worry about this all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like you can be scrappy, but at the same time, there's only so much you could do when you're only of a certain stature, So
Well, and then you see the tiny people, and I'll do it sometimes too. You could be the nicest person in the world. You have this friendly heart. You want to chit chat with people where you feel
yeah.
safe. But sometimes you have to adopt this scowl on
Yeah.
your face, like this
Right.
"don't mess with me" face.
Mhm.
When you're walking out of a store, you're looking around, you're walking with confidence, you have a scowl on your face, like, this is the
Exactly.
"don't mess with me" face, right?
Exactly.
Your worst
Exactly.
mom face, like your mom look.
Yeah, that's what they say. You have to walk with purpose,
Mhm,
like you know where you're going, like don't mess
mhm.
with me, like and it's true. Don't be like off in never land on your phone,
Nope.
kind of weak, like you know where you're going, you know your stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah. Again, I'm just so happy that you're okay, Sandy, but yeah, I probably would have picked up the phone or done something if I was being verbally assaulted. But yeah, it's something to be made aware of, especially nowadays. It seems like people are getting crazier and crazier out there. Another
Yeah.
shocker today. Gene Hackman died. Have you
I
guys been following
know.
this news all day? And it's getting
Yeah.
weirder and weirder. Now, if you haven't heard, apparently him, his wife, and one of their dogs was found dead. They'd been dead for a while, and they were in different rooms, and they'd been there so long that part of their bodies had been mummified.
Ugh.
And now they're saying it might have been carbon monoxide, but it's hard to tell at this point. But one of the doors was open, so it's like, I'm just saying, you don't want to, and he's 95. I didn't realize that Gene Hackman was so old, but then
Yeah.
I saw a picture of him because this is how I remember him, right? Like
Mhm.
this is the Gene Hackman I have in my mind. But then I saw an older picture of him. I'm like, yeah, he looks 95. But it's a crazy story. Because at first they're like, oh, him, his wife, and the dog. And I'm like, oh my God, did they have some pact or something going on? And then you just
That's
hear
what you
this.
think, and
Yeah.
then you think, okay, well, bodies were found in different parts of the
Yeah.
house and animals were involved or one animal. And you think immediately I thought carbon monoxide.
Yes,
And then
that's
I
what I
read
thought
it,
too.
and now they're saying, according to people, no, that it wasn't. Oh, no, thanks. I don't want to get the scoop. That it was not carbon monoxide
Yeah.
poisoning. That has somehow been
Ruled out. Well, I think the
ruled
doors
out.
were open, like a door was open or
And
something.
then I heard there was a space heater in the bathroom where the wife was found.
Right.
Which that made me go, "Oh, maybe there was a small fire, there was some type of gas leak, maybe it was a weird space heater, like,
Well, it could
who
have all
knows?"
I think I read also that it could have fallen as she fell, like maybe like it was on the table and as she was falling, she might have been getting pills out and something happened. Like
Mhm.
it's just odd.
Yeah,
So I
really
don't know,
weird.
but obviously my heart goes out to the Hackman family and friends and everyone that loved this family, but it's just one of the kind of weirder stories of that we've heard about in
So
recent.
maybe it was, I mean, there are no signs of trauma to the bodies, like, beaten type of thing, that didn't they don't think that happened, they're
Right.
investigating. But as you say, and here in this article from People, uh, apparently she was found with an open bottle of pills scattered
Yeah.
around, and she had been there for quite a while. It looked like she was in a state of decomposition with bloating in her face and mummification in her hands
Yes.
and feet. He was found fully clothed with his sunglasses found near his body, indicating he may have fallen down.
Yeah.
So maybe it happened to be 2 separate incidents.
But then around the same time, like the timing of it it's just an odd story. So obviously, the coroner and everything's going to figure that out, but just a really odd story. And then, I don't know if you know that actress that passed away yesterday,
Michelle Trachtenberg.
I loved her. I was a big Gossip Girl watcher, the original, the early Gossip Girl, Harriet the Spy. She's been in a number of movies. Now, she passed away of natural causes. Apparently, people thought maybe she had taken her life or something like that. But apparently, she had a liver transplant.
Yeah.
And I was reading today, like, why would someone of her age, she was 39 years old, that's a young age, need a liver transplant? And it could be a number of reasons. Obviously, cirrhosis, like, did you drink a lot or something happened to your liver? And then hepatitis, like certain, I think it's, hepatitis can damage your liver a lot. So, but that's another sad one. It's just, I don't know, all of these, the people
39.
39. And apparently people were commenting on her face and how gaunt she kind of looked. But I will also say this, and I don't know, maybe this is a little in the weeds, and maybe it had to do with her liver transplant or not. But the fact that, see her cheeks right there on that go in kind of on the side, it's a thing that these celebrities are doing and getting that fat removed. It's called buccal, Buccal or whatever, buccal fat. It's a thing. Like Chrissy Teigen's gotten it done. And I'm not saying she's gotten it done, but sometimes they do that. And then let's say she's lost weight because she's gotten sick. It makes you even look even more gaunt. So I'm not saying that's what it is, but just because you have indents right there on your cheeks doesn't necessarily mean that you're sick. I'm just saying. Yeah. See, Heather. Yeah. I think that maybe that might have been it. And then she lost a little weight because she was sick. But someone was saying that her eyes looked a little yellow, jaundice. That could also have to do with her liver. So anyways, also our hearts go out to that family. But yeah, just Hollywood's been hit with a lot of tragedy lately. Yeah.
So they say what it comes in threes. So here comes whoever else it's going to be, right?
I mean, Donald Trump was in, Home Alone, right?
No wishing ill on people.
I'm just saying there's all people. I'm just saying. Well, speaking of Donald Trump, as I mentioned, in the tease for the show, he is planning or is requiring now undocumented immigrants to join a registry or face jail. And everyone knows the simple reason, right? There's one simple reason. He's going to make every single undocumented person a criminal instantly.
Right.
Because they always say, undocumented people commit fewer crimes than, American citizens. No, now every single solitary person, whether they were a child that was brought over, whatever, you are now instantly a criminal if you don't register. It's so horrifying, the fact that this is such history repeating. You know what I mean? Okay, let me just ask this basic question. Okay, honestly, if you were an undocumented person, would you register?
No. Otherwise, I would have come here legally and I would have documents. If I'm here and I'm undocumented, I don't want to be taken back to wherever I'm going to go because of whatever reason. Maybe there's gangs or there's threats against me or
you're
whatever.
Damned if you do or you're damned if you don't. You know what I mean? But what I'm scared about is the children. I mean, they say as young as 14, right? You could go to jail. They're saying we'll throw you in jail as young as 14 years old.
Would you register?
You could face jail time. No. But at the same time, I would look at my children and I'd be like, damn it. How do I protect my kids at school? Would I send my kid to school now? Now my kid, I've made them a criminal at school. I mean, I'd be so deathly afraid to send, even more than I was before, to school. He has instantly made everybody a criminal in this way. And I know they'll be like, you're already a criminal because you're in the country illegally. But, it's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. And, I just wonder how far down this road were really going to go. Because they said, all these mass deportations were going to be the criminals first, right? These dangerous criminals. And we're finding out that a lot of these people aren't. They were just hardworking people. They didn't have any criminal history. Well, now they're going to make every single one a criminal so they can get those criminal numbers up. It's insane. It's just absolutely insane. Yeah. This is the
executive action where he's an executive order where he says, we've seen an unprecedented flood of illegal immigration into the United States. He says millions of, and he uses the term illegal aliens crossed our borders, permitted directly into the U.S. on commercial flights, blah, blah, blah. Enforcing our nation's immigration laws critically important to national security. It's the policy of the United States to faithfully execute immigration laws against all inadmissible and removable aliens, particularly those aliens who threaten the safety or security of American people. And so he wants you to sign and register with this thing,
so they can pick you up
list, right?
Quickly, easily. Oh, thank you for giving me your address.
Yeah.
I will now come to your house and pick you up and send you back. That's what they're going to do. I mean, why else would they want to register? They want to know where you are, and then they will come and get you, and then they will send you back. And there's no winning. There's no, okay, well, let's see if, there's a path to citizenship for you, or, what do you do for our country? Have you contributed? Do you have children here? Have you been helping cure cancer? Are you a doctor, a lawyer? Have you started a business? Do you happen to have $5 million? And then you could just buy your way into America and have this gold card. You know what I mean? It's just this insane point in history where unless you're apparently rich and can buy your way into America, Donald Trump doesn't want you here. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. I know.
Josh says, will they put gold cards on the new Trump candy bars next? $5 million. You can get your Trump gold card, which is what did they say? Trump said green card plus, green card benefits plus.
Well, because apparently there was this system for business people, and let's keep this in mind, and let's be fair when we're talking about this. Was a system that was in place, right, where people can come over here and create business, and then you could become an American citizen. But this number and this gold card and this messaging surrounding it, right, as if just because you have $5 million in your pocket, you're one of the best people to become an American citizen. Well, there's a lot of evil people that have $5 million in their pocket. You know what I mean?
It's funny because I thought of this, and then later on I watched an interview where he was asked about it. Could you, he said, welcome all oligarchs, Russian oligarchs to America. Right. He said, yeah, oligarchs could come in. Sure. These are people that have oodles of money.
Yes.
What about drug cartel people?
Right.
Oodles of money. So $5 million and you get,
That's
carte blanche American
to these
benefits?
People.
Come on.
That is nothing to these. What kind of vetting are we doing? Is it $5 million no matter what? If you have $5 million, it's automatically a green light? It's crazy. Oh, Luis, thank you for the $5. Yeah, go ahead, read it.
Instant criminal versus instant upstanding citizen if you purchase one of Donnie Dimwit's gold cards. Hello, mafia kingpins and oligarchs.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly, Luis. Thank you for the contribution.
I'm so disgusted by the fact that it's just money. It's not, there's nothing. He only sees you as dollars and cents. That's it. There's nothing more that he values other than money. Right? And that's it. And he really does view it as that. He runs everything like a business, whether it works or it doesn't. It doesn't matter, I
was watching Kimmel, and he had this great joke about only Donald Trump would run America like a casino benefit card. Sign up for the gold card with benefits plus.
Right? Exactly. It's crazy. We did get good news, though, today. So a judge in San Francisco, which I absolutely love, which I know we're going to never hear the end of, a federal judge has ordered the Office of Personnel Management to rescind the directives that started those mass firings of probationary workers across government. They said the terminations were probably illegal. I would put my money on it. This is Judge William Alsup of, obviously the federal court in San Francisco. He's ordered that more than 24 agencies, including the Department of Defense, the Park Service, Bureau of Land Management, the National Science Foundation, and others, that they rescind those terminations. Now, this is good news. But I kind of feel like it's this game of chicken, right? Like, who's going to listen? Who's not going to listen? And also, I think it has to do with money, right? Like, are these people going to get paid if they go to work? Are their cards going to work in the building? How is this actually going to physically work day to day, right?
I worry about the enforcement of it, because we've heard Musk yesterday or the day before say these judges who are going against Trump should all be impeached.
Right.
The judges are the ones that are unlawful. I mean, it's ridiculous what he's saying.
Yes, absolutely.
But what I worry about is, what if they just blow off the judges? Who enforces that? Is it the military that will force the executive branch to abide by what the judicial branch has to say? Is it police? What police? The DC police? I don't know how you would force the executive branch to follow what you're saying.
Right.
Is this the moment when they stop paying attention to judicial rulings that we all have to step outside and protest? I don't know. It's very disconcerting.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we have a system in place. And I had the video and then I didn't put it in. But there was a Republican, Kennedy, Senator Kennedy, who actually was telling other members, saying, don't you ever say that you're not going to listen to a court order. He's like, we have a system in place. You cannot like it. You can disagree with it. You can appeal it, but you don't ignore it and you don't say you're not going to follow it, because this is this literal system that we have set up. You can bring it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, but that is the system that we have in place. You don't get to pick and choose when the highest court in the land gets to rule on something and we follow it, and when we don't, right? So now, again, I think that Kennedy, it's a bit rich that this is what Kennedy is going to speak out on when he is such a huge Trump supporter, but it's at least a little nice to hear that he believes in the checks and balances of this country, because it's true. Yeah. I will say this. I'm going to be a little fair here. I understand the insane way, and I will say it's an insane way, that Donald Trump has kind of twisted the executive branch to his liking, right? Like, it's not how it actually works, but I see how he's wanting to kind of all of these agencies are technically under the executive branch. They're obviously not under the courts, right? They're not under, but again, they are they're independent agencies. Everyone knows that. He knows that. He knows that he's not allowed to do this. He knows that Congress is supposed to be doing this. It's supposed to have legislative approval. And he also knows that executive orders are only as good as the paper they're freaking written on. I mean, that's true. Everyone knows that. And if you write an executive order that breaks the law, and it's brought before the U.S. Supreme Court, and they say it's against the law, you have to agree with it. Here it is. Here it is. Play it.
Mr. Wrights, I introduced Senator Cruz to some of his supporters one time. I was asked about him, and I said, no, let me tell you about Senator Cruz. He's brilliant, but so was the Unabomber. You've got to watch him like a hawk. Is that a fair description? You don't have to answer that. Serious for a second, and then I'll have one or two questions. You're all adults. You're all officers of the court.
Here it is.
So I'm going to give you some advice. I may be wrong, but I doubt it. Don't ever take the position that you're not going to follow the order of a federal court. Ever. Now, you can disagree with it. Within the bounds of legal ethics, you can criticize it. You can appeal it. Or you can resign. For 4 years, I have watched people in this town, not everybody, but many, try to undermine the legitimacy of the federal judiciary. And it triggered each and every time my gag reflex. I've watched them try to pack the Supreme Court. I have watched an esteemed member of this body on the steps of the Supreme Court threaten Justices Gorsuch and Justice Kavanaugh. I've seen that. I've seen this body, some in good faith, but some in bad faith, try to impose an unconstitutional, violative of the separation of powers doctrine, ethics code on the Supreme Court, just to try to undermine their legitimacy. Now, all our judiciary has, an equal branch of government has its legitimacy. It doesn't have an army. Don't ever say you're not going to follow the order of a court. You may not agree with it, but that's my advice, and I think you ought to take it.
And that's pretty much what he said. I think that he's right. But again, I also think that he's, a Trump bootlicker. So, whatever.
So that's great advice. But then why did you vote for Trump?
Exactly. Well,
why do you back up the things that Trump is saying? If you know that Trump is dangerous for democracy, this seems like a guy, Senator John Kennedy, a Republican of Louisiana, who understands the Constitution, the rule of law, who understands and has a good grasp on the American system of government. And if that's true, then why couldn't he have seen, as you and I and everyone in the chat saw during the election and before that, this train coming where our democracy was at stake? Why was he not off of that train? Why was he ready aboard and blowing the whistle?
I think the same reason why people that have literally lost their job still support Donald Trump. It's an ideology. It's a view of how this country should be run. I think that because they're a Republican, there's no way in hell that they would ever agree with how a Democrat should run the country. And I also think that I will say this, and I could be completely wrong. I think that there's a lot of Republicans that are also shocked. Not that Donald Trump is doing what he's doing, but doing it in such a messy way.
Yeah.
In the way in which he's doing it.
Yeah.
Because you constantly hear it. Like, I'm glad that we're cutting waste, which is basically just the things that Donald Trump doesn't like that don't go along with his agenda.
That's right.
But the way he's doing it is so, for lack of a better word, sloppy, and not in any way, shape, or form, orderly, with any thoughtfulness. Like, nobody believes that Donald Trump had a plan, like has looked at these departments, has organized it, knows the people that are being fired, has given thought. You know what I mean? Like, no. Because he's leaving it up to Elon Musk. And I don't think Elon Musk even knows. That's why he's rescinded some of the air traffic controllers. He put out a tweet. He just put out a tweet. He's like, air traffic controllers that have, retired. We kind of need you back because we have a shortage. Hey, MFR, you're the one that, urged all these people to take this package. If you thought about it, maybe you shouldn't have offered every single federal worker a package to retire early. But there wasn't any thought. There wasn't a plan. It was like a bull in a china shop that you did with people's lives and livelihoods. And that's not the way to do things. But, that's this administration. And, and some people have used this whole shock and awe a la George W. Bush, right? But I just can't understand how they want shock and awe when you're talking about people's lives, their jobs, their careers, their homes. Oh, they'll get another job. Where?
Right.
Where? What are you planning? Some training? Where? Some of these places, it's hard. It was hard for them to get that job. Is there some job training that you've created that's going to pay their mortgage next month? Donald Trump? I mean, where is this happening? It blows my mind that a couple months ago, they were saying the economy is in the toilet. It's hard for people to pay for groceries. And yet they've just laid off thousands of people and said, they'll get another job. Are you providing that in some way?
I think they know it's illegal. I think they're trying to cause chaos, and they're trying to cause disillusionment and tank morale, because when that happens, people head for the door. And so maybe the judge says, you can't fire these people. That's illegal. But good luck trying to get all the good people that just left back on the job.
I don't know. People need jobs, though. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get doing it the way they did it. I understand. Here's the thing, Kim. Not that I want to give them a win, but I really do think if they would have just taken a couple of months to put some effing thought into it, they could have done it way better, right?
Yeah.
Because there is easy waste. Did you see Jon Stewart's thing where he cut his freaking hand open?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you see it? He cut billions in 10 seconds, right? There's easy money that you can cut, but they don't want it, right? Because it impacts rich people and Elon Musk. But yeah, there's easy ways he could have done it.
There's constitutional ways he could have done it.
Exactly. But
and then people would have complained, but it wouldn't have been let's race in because Elon only has 130 days. And let's just start, waving the machete around and seeing whatever it can possibly hit.
Right.
No,
I mean,
it's not how we do things.
Exactly. Luis, I love you. Thank you for the $5. He says, ladies, you're being kind of downers. Let's all go to Trump Gaza for drinks. After you, my friend. First round on me. What a joke. Watch the video. It's awful. Yeah. I just feel like I also read this article. And thank you again, Luis, for the donation. And I don't know if you've read this article, and it's kind of nutso, okay? But it makes total sense. It was in the Mercury News. It's been in other places, and it's a little bit of an old interview about a book that came out a couple years ago, but it was based on Elon Musk, and kind of might explain why he is the way he is now. And it basically, in lack of a better term, that Twitter broke Elon Musk. Do you remember when he was in San Francisco and Dave Chappelle brought him on stage and everyone booed him and he wasn't really happy about that?
Well, kind of. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, a few years. Remember, and then everyone's oh, remember. And Dave Chappelle tried to make a joke about it, all those people you fired didn't really like you. You know what I mean? And apparently, according to this book, it really took a mental toll on him. According to this author, Ben Mesrich, he covered Elon Musk. He says Elon Musk got to a point where he locked himself in his office, was so upset that Twitter employees were considering calling a wellness check by the San Francisco police because they thought he was going to self-harm himself. I think he truly cares about his reputation, and he was shocked. And this led to Musk's downward spiral. The first was the Chappelle Show, which took place about 2 months after Musk bought Twitter for $44 million. And then the spiral just created this destabilizing event. And then there was this stalker, I guess, with his 2-year-old son that kind of also set him off. Because remember, Elon Musk has admitted that he's on the spectrum and everything like that. Not saying that means everyone's going to do that, but has Asperger's syndrome and he's opened up about his mental health. And apparently after he wasn't getting the attention on Twitter for all of his tweets, he fired the engineer who was saying, you're just not getting attention on your tweets because you're not very popular. So he fired the guy. So he's very much concerned, apparently, about his reputation. And a lot of people are saying it's simply because, and he's manipulated Twitter now. He makes everyone follow him because he needs that. And I think that's led to the Elon that we're seeing right now. And I think that's also why he gets along with Donald Trump. I think I know that Donald Trump never believed that he would be as unpopular as he was as president. You know what I mean? I think he thought it was going to be like The Apprentice.
Right.
That once he got into office, everyone was just going to love him. And the fact that people hated him, you know what I mean? Like, yes, people loved him. Like, he obviously, and people do, like, are obsessed with him. But the fact that he wasn't universally loved, you know what I mean? Like he was on his show, it sets him off, right? Like, people love Elon Musk. I'm sure he has a bunch of people around him that absolutely think he's a genius. But I think it gets to him that he's not universally loved. And that it's like, you know, you can be like, have all these people say all these nice things, but it's that one comment that just, you know, digs at you. Imagine millions of people doing that. And I think that's where Trump and Elon Musk just totally are the same. And I don't know, man. And these are the two top men that are having the biggest influence right now on our country. And that's scary.
What do they say? The lunatics are running the asylum.
Oh yeah, it's a total circus.
Nikki also says, I think the people who voted for Trump also never thought the destruction would be turned on them.
Absolutely. There was a Washington Post article or New York Times article today. This woman, she didn't want to vote for Trump, but she was like, I think in Michigan, but she thought that IVF was going to be free. She was having a hard time getting pregnant. Her family's all Trumpers. And so she had voted, and so she voted for Donald Trump. She was part of the U.S. Forest Service, got laid off. You know what I mean? And then, of course, Donald Trump comes out and says, I'm reducing the cost, but it wasn't free. And so, you know, she's lost her job. She can't afford, you know, the house and everything like that. And she's just, you know, we're in the find out stage. They're fine.
We're in the FAFO. Jennifer says they're causing chaos while they grift America. Isn't that the truth? Trying to write contracts for SpaceX.
Exactly.
And
that's
Tesla.
illegal. That is illegal. He cannot get that contract. It is such blatant, you know, conflict that he cannot get that contract. Nick, thank you for the $20. You're so generous. How much did Elon charge us for that chrome-plated chainsaw? I mean, the guy is so effing awkward to watch also. Like, and again, I think I write down the things that I want every day, you know what I mean, for my mental health. And like, I try to word it in a way in which I want Donald Trump and Elon Musk just to go away in a positive way. I just want them to go away in whatever way the universe decides. But yeah, if that thing slipped out of his hand, you know, he shouldn't play with it. You know what I mean?
Nick, you're awesome. Thank you for allowing us to see this picture once again. Thank you. But
it's so weird.
Say this, that I have a family member who works for the federal government who just won an award for doing an amazing job. Unfortunately, the award had the word equity in it. And it's like, okay.
You can't even use that word.
My family member and their immediate family, their wife and children, are going through some really uncertain times. What's going to happen? Are they going to be able to stay in their house? Is the family member going to be able to find another job?
Do they live here in California?
Yeah. So all of these things. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, so it's like, and then here he comes with this chainsaw in the most insensitive display
I'm so
of
sorry.
Let's cut. And he doesn't care that he's affecting people's livelihoods, their ability to raise their children in the communities in which they live.
Exactly.
That's the thing. We don't raise a chainsaw around. We say, you know what? Anytime you've ever been released from a radio station, think when it happened at KGO.
Ugh.
They gather you around the table and they pass out the manila envelopes and they say, they at least act
like they care.
Like they care. There's some contrition there. Like we're very
I'm
sorry to have
so
to do this for
sorry.
you.
Yeah.
We're so sorry. You've been a great employee. It's not your fault. Here's your package and sayonara, sucker. And so
Mhm.
it's still harsh. It's still happening, but there's not someone dancing in the hallway with a chainsaw going, ha ha, cut,
Look
cut,
how
cut.
much I've cut. Yeah, exactly.
That
And
is
I know.
rude. And there's something emotionally wrong with that and very unprofessional.
Well, he was like imitating some other president, right? Of like some other country that had used the chainsaw as an analogy for like cutting things. And I get it. But it's awful because when they're saying we're cutting waste, those are people.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not putting any thought into it. Like there is no way they're putting thought into it. There is no thought into it. David said, I don't want to pay for your lazy relative. I hope you're being sarcastic.
Probably not, because there's mean people on the internet. The fact that David Wiley says this, he has no idea what my relative
Exactly.
does.
How do you know she's lazy?
No idea whether my relative does something that directly benefits you or not. And I would argue that what that person does benefits all of us.
And I'll say this. I think that the way that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are making their cuts is the most lazy way ever.
Right.
They didn't want to put in the effort to figure out exactly what everyone did.
They don't even want to have people read the emails. They just want to read the emails about 5 things you did this week and feed them into AI
Exactly.
and let AI hash it out.
Right.
Talk about lazy.
Talk about lazy. Exactly. Pamela, thank you for the $10 donation.
Yes.
Thanks, Nikki and Kim. Trump is old and demented. Elon is younger and demented. I wish them both would head to space on SpaceX rocket and never to return. Did you see who's going and on the Blue Origin next?
No.
Katy Perry and Don Jr.'s girlfriend, Lauren Sanchez. They're going next. How do you feel about Katy Perry going on a Blue Origin? I don't care about Sanchez.
Blue Origin is that's Jeff Bezos' rocket. That's the Amazon rocket.
I don't give a shit. They're both assholes. Bezos can kiss my ass. What he's doing to the Washington Post. Oh my God. Bezos is just as bad as Musk, in my opinion. Katy Perry, like, I don't know, girl. Is
she conservative or is she just interested in going to space?
Well, I think it just is not the right time to flaunt your wealth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I just feel like it's the whole, let them eat cake kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, stop flaunting wealth at a time when, like, tomorrow people are going to try this whole economic blackout. Like, people are losing their jobs. We're trying to stick it to the rich, and you're going to go to outer space to float for 5 seconds. Like, what the fuck? Like, read the room right now, Katie. Like, read the room. Like, I just feel like this is not the time. Like, I'm not judging. I am judging you. Like, no, just read the room. This is no, that's a stupid thing to do right now. Like, I don't know. Am I wrong? I guess you can as a free country, but of all the things to spend your money on right now, you want to go float for a minute? Like, come on.
Perhaps fire relief is a good choice.
Or something else than partner up with Bezos right now. Like, he's a dick. I don't know. Ugh, he makes my blood boil right now. Sorry. The whole Washington Post opinion page, like, everything with Jeff Bezos is making my blood boil, especially as a journalist, that I just can't stand him right now.
Harry with $10. Harry, thank you. And he says,
Thank
oh my
you,
God,
Harry.
don't call them lazy. Rolling on the floor, laughing my ass off. Will Musk please leave for Mars and now take Donnie with you?
Oh, I swear to God. Like, can they just all go to space and then just, like, you know how those astronauts, are those astronauts back yet? That went on that Boeing space
Not yet. They're coming back. They're not back yet.
They were only supposed to be gone for like 24 hours or some shit. Yeah. That Boeing headline went away. I swear to God. I'm dying. Jim, thank you for the $5 donation. A lot of these politicians talk about government workers as if they're not even human. Very demeaning. Oh yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene can also suck a big one. What the hell has she ever done? Can you name me, honestly, one piece of legislation that she's responsible for that has made this country better.
She's a waste of the air we breathe. She said that all of the federal workers are not
they don't have real
deserving of
jobs.
their paychecks.
Yeah.
She said federal workers in her district don't hold real jobs. Really? How does she know? Did she go talk to them all? Did she go spend a day on the job with them to find out?
It is so insulting.
She said this. You can protest all you want outside the departments of this government. You can protest all you want, but the American people disagree with you. You're protecting the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is not a business. Those are not real jobs producing federal revenue, by the way. Really? The IRS isn't? Oh, okay. The post office isn't? Oh, okay. Those are not real jobs producing federal revenue. They're consuming taxpayer dollars. Those jobs are paid for by the American tax people who work real jobs, earn real income, pay federal taxes, and then pay these federal employees. Federal employees, she said, do not deserve their jobs. Federal employees do not deserve their paychecks. And these are jobs, she said, that can be fired at will. And she would
please
be wrong.
leave. You should leave. She's a federal. Exactly.
She's a federal.
She has
employee.
a federal job.
Yeah,
she has a federal job. And I would love for her to just kick rocks. You know what I mean? Like, what do you do?
Well,
what do you do?
Marjorie's not concerned with people getting their tax refunds. Marjorie is not concerned with the mail getting where it needs to be in a timely fashion. Marjorie is not concerned with the promises we made to the veterans of the United States of America to take care of them. She's not concerned with the people that bury our war dead. She's not concerned with the people who make sure that the welfare checks are distributed so we don't have starving children and starving families in the world. She's not concerned that all of us have clean air and clean water. She's not concerned with all the things that affect every single one of us. Those people don't deserve to be paid for making our lives better. Marjorie Taylor Greene, in the words of Nikki Maduro, can go suck it.
I'm just wondering, okay, so like Donald Trump has set this March 13th date, right? For all these agencies, these federal agencies, although this judge ruling, I don't know if that's going to hold water anymore, to kind of prepare for even more layoffs, right? Like it's a D-Day type of thing. I remember we talked about this last week. Like I'm just waiting for like the bottom to fall out where everyone's just like, no, it's not what, like, this can't sustain. This is not sustainable, right? This country can't function. We can't function. This is a gigantic country. We have to have things work, right? Like it doesn't make sense. And again, I'm glad I live in California. I was even looking it up, Kim. Like, I'm so glad we live here. We don't take that much federal. We are not one of the states that take a lot of federal dollars. No. Like the impact of this is not big for California. It's not. And these red stupid states, sorry, and I don't mean to use the word stupid, but you voted for this man and he's fucking you in the ass. Sorry to be vulgar, but he is. He's going to take all of your money.
But I don't want him to do that to me, Nikki.
All of your money, and you don't get it. You do not understand because he likes the uneducated. Mm-hmm. He likes the uneducated. He's taking the money that you guys need to function.
Yeah,
you depend on Medicaid. Okay, you depend on Medicaid, underpaid, Medicare, gray hair. That's how I always remember it, right? Okay. So you depend on Medicaid. You don't have a lot of money. Okay. So you have to get it together. You have to get it together. You have to hit the streets. And all of these town halls that are happening and all of these senators and Congress people are like, oh, those are just Democrats. You still serve those Democrats, one. And two, don't make that assumption. Do not make the assumption that these are just Republicans or just Democrats that are upset. These are also Republican voters that have lost their jobs.
I don't think it hits people until they're personally affected.
Right.
When was the last time that you had to rely on a federal government worker for something? For me, it was very recently.
I don't know, when my mail got picked up.
Thank you. Today would be the last time. But last month, my dad died. And God, it seems like it it's like it's been so long. But after he died, I had to call the Social Security office to let them know so that the Social Security checks would stop coming, this type of thing. And they have these satellite offices in your local area. And for him, it was in a region of Oregon. And I read that many offices across the country are being cut, many of those regional Social Security offices. The government thinks they're not important. The Social Security Administration says these offices are key to us reaching out to the public and interacting with the public in ways that need to happen. So if there was only a federal office with one phone number, I would have been probably not able to get through, you know, but because it was a regional office, I could call and inform them and let them know. In this case, I likely saved the federal government money. They didn't have to fork out money that wasn't due, right? And I saved my stepmother some issues from getting money that then would have to be returned. So these are real jobs where people are doing real things. How is that person not earning a paycheck and not doing the work of the people?
But they didn't take the time to figure that out. You're going to cut also IRS people right before tax season, like in the middle of tax season, actually. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no thought. There's no thought being put. Yeah, Molly, the homeless situation, is he going to blame? He can't blame California Democratic politics when it's happening across the country. Are you going to blame Democrats for the unemployment numbers when they come out? I mean, he's going to continue to blame Biden for all kinds of crap, probably for his entire presidency. It's just ridiculous. And he's not fixing anything.
No.
He's not fixing anything.
As a matter of fact, I would say, wasn't one of the campaign promises Trump made to make the economy better?
The first day.
Yeah, weren't we supposed to have, we were supposed to have cheaper groceries, you know, part of the economy is the employment rate. Right. And if you fire people across the country, and again, I'm not saying, oh, if there's waste, fraud, and abuse, we should just keep it going. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you don't take a chainsaw to it and cut the legitimate necessary parts of government out. And then say, oh, look at that unemployment rate, all those people are out of work. That doesn't look like something that would benefit us.
Nope. But this is why. I mean, listen to...
Oh, she's such a dummy.
This is what we're about. We're running this country like Jamie runs the business, like President Trump runs the Trump organization, like Elon Musk's running X. That's what we're doing. And if you want your budget balanced, if you want to not have a deficit, who better to do so than a businessman that understands how to make money, how to spend money, and how to get out of debt? And that's what we're going to do.
He's going to bankrupt the country. He's going to bankrupt the country. He's going to bankrupt each and every household because that's what he knows how to do. He's bankrupt.
It's almost like they want to break America.
Elon Musk has broken Twitter. Twitter's never made a profit. He's lost billions on Twitter. Donald Trump, bankruptcy after bankruptcy. These are people. This is not, a spreadsheet. This isn't something you can just write off. Okay? You can't just take people's lives as a loss. Okay? That's the problem. And I just don't think that they see it that way. And the fact that he has all of these minions and nobody in his cabinet that's going to hold his feet to the fire and be like, you can't do that. That's what scares me. That's what scares me. You know what I mean? And, it's, don't even get me started on the international stuff and the NATO stuff and all that kind of crap. Because in all honesty, then I just start spiraling. You know what I mean?
Yep. I know.
It's just, I have to stay domestic because if I get foreign, then I'm just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, but screw the senators then, Rev. Then they have no spine and they don't deserve to be in office. And I don't mean to get aggravated, but it's like none of the, like, what the hell is your problem? Like, does nobody have a spine? Yeah, I just, it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. Like, there was such a better way of doing this. There's such a better way of doing this. I mean,
Ricky O'Bear says, how does anybody bankrupt a casino anyway?
I know, right?
Like, isn't that easy money?
Exactly.
It's so disappointing and shocking and hits you in your soul, if you're really a patriot, that they could be doing this to America,
Right.
and like wanting America to fail, make America great again, my ass. How about, make America swirl the toilet? And it's so disappointing and depressing that I found myself in the car today thinking about the things I'm grateful for. I was watching my kids wrestle on the front lawn and thinking I need to have a moment of gratitude.
Yes.
And
You
so
have to
thinking
find them.
about the things that I'm thankful for, the things that, that bring my heart light and joy.
Yes.
And it
all the
worked
time.
for me. So if you're going through a depression, I'm not saying look away from the problems. I'm just saying when it gets to be too much, take that moment to have that gratitude.
Exactly. And you have to do that. Here's a question for you. Okay. To take it a little bit to California. Okay. So you know how Donald Trump, he always does this. Basically, what he's done is if you don't follow my agenda, he had that whole thing with at the governor's meeting where he's like, I'm not going to give you any federal dollars if you don't follow my agenda, right? If with the transgender sports, I'm not going to give you any money. Gavin Newsom has basically said the same thing, and he's done this a number of times. Now, what Donald Trump is saying is completely different because it's basically illegal, right? Congress controls the purse strings, blah, 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 right? But Newsom, again, has threatened to withhold homelessness money from cities who fail to move people off the streets.
Yeah.
Okay? How do you feel about this? I just feel like if you take money away from agencies, obviously it's not going to help the situation, right? But at the same time, the agencies can't just continue to get money if they're not showing any sort of progress, right?
Well, in this specific line of thought, we're giving you money to affect homelessness, to end homelessness, to make sure people have housing, what have you. And if your problem is getting worse, and if you can't show that the money that you're allotted is actually making a difference, you're doing it wrong. And so in that case, I think that metric seems to make sense to me. Now, perhaps like the Musk situation, it's throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
And maybe there are some programs in those cities that are working. But in the case of homelessness money in California, I get really frustrated with it because I look at San Francisco and we hear stories of the homeless industrial complex where this money goes to things that really don't have a lot to do with getting people off the street. You think money for homelessness, because state of California is earmarking another X amount of dollars to affect homelessness. And then you hear the money isn't going to getting new shelters opened, or isn't going to homeless outreach, or isn't going to all these things. It's going to weird programs, and it looks like people are kind of stealing and taking advantage.
Right.
So how do you get ahead of that? Because that is waste, fraud, and abuse.
It is. And and I understand that it can be hard to show progress. Now, there was an audit in last April, obviously, that found California's lead homelessness agency failed to track $24 billion it spent between 2018 and 2023. That's
money?
BS. I mean, that just shows me, for lack of a better word, arrogance. $24 billion is a shit ton of money. Are you kidding me? $24 billion?
We're looking away. We look away as if, it's not really happening.
Right.
It is really happening. Who's in charge? What's going on? So I think Newsom has to do something when it comes to making sure that money is actually working the way it was intended.
Right. So he plans to add more tracking measures to this website. So they launched a website, which I always laugh at. I'm like, of course, money goes to a new website. So it's going to monitor county level metrics related to housing, homelessness, and mental health. They'll include recently completed housing units, shifts in local homeless populations, the number of people connected to homeless services, and partial accounting of state homelessness funding for each county. They want to add more of these tracking measures to the site. They've also announced $920 million for local homelessness efforts. Now, in my neck of the woods, we're doing this homeward bound. We're trying to connect homeless people to family members that'll take them in, which I think is a good thing, right? But the other thing is we got to stop. This is the other thing, and I hate saying this, okay? Because it's hard. I think that our weather is something that's always going to attract people, right? To California. Nobody wants to freaking be homeless in Michigan and snowy states, right? Nobody wants to be. That sucks. But I also do think our hearts and the fact that we do care, and I don't want to stop that. It attracts people, right? Like we do take care of people. We don't want to say F you to people. And that's always going to attract people. Like I don't want to be heartless. And because we don't want to be heartless, I think that's always going to be our Achilles heel. I think that there is no way to say we provide these services without constantly drawing outsiders in, unless we start becoming stricter with how we define a Californian. And our definition of a Californian, I think, is a little lax. And I don't know how you define it with a homeless person because it's really hard without papers, but I'm using papers in a terrible way, but you know what I mean? Like some sort of identification. But you know, you have to be here for 2 weeks and you're a Californian basically. So
yeah,
that's hard.
I like Rev's comment. He says, I don't trust Newsom at all. He's lost in corporate money, too busy building his campaign war chest, all of which is true, although I do think he does some things right. I mean, he gets it right a lot of the time, although there is this underbelly of corporate money and who is he beholden to? PG&E, Public Utilities Commission decisions, ? So there are issues there. But in this particular case, asking for cities around California to be accountable, to show what the money they've received is doing, I don't know if I have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it, but at the same time, there has to be, if we're going to take away the money from a program, we have to make sure that that city has some sort of way to still address their homelessness problem, right? Because then we're just going to exacerbate the problem there, and we're going to make it 10 times worse, and then we're going to have a bigger problem on our hands, right? So I don't know. But now, did you see that he's also out with a new podcast?
Gav?
It's called This is Gavin Newsom. Have you seen it?
God, no.
I subscribed. I did subscribe. It's only out with a trailer. It's
Can we see it?
It's a podcast. It's not, so you just hear it. So you just hear it. And people are like totally dunking on him like conservatives are. Like your state's in shambles. How do you have time to do a freaking podcast? Hold on. I have a little video that he put on X that I'll share it with you. So here you go. Now I will say this. I think that Gavin Newsom is always trying to present himself as the person that wants to talk to the other side, right? Like, I want to talk to DeSantis. I want to talk to all of these Republicans. And that's basically how he's trying to frame this podcast. Here he is. Look at him.
We need to change the conversation. And that's why I'm launching a new podcast. And this is going to be anything but the ordinary politician podcast. I'm going to be talking to people directly that I disagree with, as well as people I look up to. But more important than anything else, I'll be talking directly with you, the listener. Real conversations. What's going on with the cost of eggs? What are the impacts, real impacts to you around tariffs? What power does an executive order really have? And what's really going on inside of Doge? Look, there's an onslaught of information that we take in. So let's take it to the sources without the typical political mumbo jumbo. In the first few weeks, we're going to be sitting down with some of the biggest leaders and architects in the MAGA movement. This is Gavin Newsom.
I wish he would have asked the question, what's going on with PG&E? Yeah, Gavin, let's talk about
Gavin.
it.
I mean, but honestly.
And then we asked the question, Gavin Newsom.
I think that might be something that, we should press him about. I mean, that could be something that we can go on his comments. So I'm kind of liking that, right?
All these politicians, he says it's not a typical politician podcast, but they all have their own podcast. Right. When they want to say something, they go on, they say their little they're not even regular podcasts. They come out, whenever they have something to offer. It's
totally scripted. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like us where we have a specific time and date and show and whatever. They just, it's random. But I think Ted Cruz has one.
Oh, Ted Cruz has it. He's had one for a while.
Yeah,
I would like it if it was,
have 'em.
now this is what I'll say. If it was Gavin Newsom and Ted Cruz in a room with each other, I would like that. I think in a room
Security?
conversations, I don't listen to his podcast at all, but a la Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that in person, like even if it was something like this, even if it was, there's something to be said with looking somebody, even if it's virtually, in the eye, right? Like, come on, you know what I mean? Even though we come from the radio background. Because I think that if Gavin was looking at Ron DeSantis and you could see the BS on his face and be like, you got to be kidding me. You know what I mean? Like, come on, stop. I just think that would be good. I don't know. I think Gavin, obviously, he's trying to appeal to the national audience. He knows that his time in California has come to an end. So he has to start appealing to a national audience. Otherwise, it's done. I mean, he needs to take a significant break from politics, because otherwise everyone's going to remember him for California. You're not going to, it's going to be hard for a Californian to be elected.
Yeah, you're told. Josh had said that in the chat earlier.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that the country has too much of a grudge against California. That may be part of what did Kamala Harris in the last election.
Yeah,
is that she's from California, and the rest of the
I think it was
country,
more she was a woman and she was of color, but yeah,
all of the above. I mean, just add that in. It's just another, rock on this pile, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wish Bernie was 40. I wish Bernie was 60. Bernie has been the same man. I think I saw him in an interview and he was just young, and he's always been the same Bernie. You know what I mean? Kind of anti-capitalism, like local capitalism he's fine with, you know what I mean? But it's that corporate capitalism that he's always been against, because he knows it corrupts. And it's true. I mean, I think that when you get to the Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, they just start protecting themselves and the people be damned. And it's crazy because you would think at that point you'd have enough money. You know what I mean? That's what I always feel like. Don't you just have enough? But I guess it just corrupts at that. I have no comprehension of it because I'm not that rich. But it has to corrupt in some way that you're just not rich enough. Because you would think, like, why do you have to protect your billions of dollars? Like, you could live so comfortably. Like, what do you need that you don't have? I don't know. It boggles the mind. I don't live in that world. I don't live in that reality. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Luis, I'm so done with the effing price of eggs. People down here are okay paying $20 for a single Japanese strawberry, though delicious, not worth $20. Speaking of eggs, thank you, Luis, for the $5. Yeah. Couldn't believe the headline. My heart goes out to Petaluma. Apparently, I saw a headline. Petaluma was like, you guys were like possibly like losing the egg capital of the world or some sort. I saw something in the I don't know, the press Democrat that was making me feel for Petaluma. I don't know what's happening.
And it's this article
fake
about
news.
How Petaluma City farmers farmers in this region are trying to make sure that we don't lose this egg basket of the world legacy.
Yes, something like that.
We won't. Let me tell you that there is a store in Petaluma. I've mentioned it before, Skippy's.
Okay.
It's all I just read an article recently yesterday, I think, about how the United States is considering fighting the prices of eggs by importing them from other countries. This is not what you want. What you want is local, fresh eggs.
Go to your neighbor.
Go to your people. They are, we all in Petaluma, everyone has an egg source. Either someone knows a farmer, someone knows someone who has chickens on their property. Everyone has an egg connection.
Yeah.
But you can go to Skippy's and they have there are eggs that are cracked that are perfectly fine.
Right, you've said that before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that you can refrigerate them eggs will last forever in the refrigerator. And you get these flats of 24 eggs. You can buy, there's egg restrictions now. You can buy as many of these flats as you want. I think you would need to if you were a restaurant. That's
Yeah.
the claim to fame for Skippy's is that they're a restaurant supply store, but it's all local, all organic. So when everyone else was worried about, there was an egg scare where people were eating eggs and getting sick. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the case in Petaluma because most of us source our eggs locally, organically, and differently. It's never been a problem. Dairy, milk, eggs, freshest, best quality in this area.
Well, I was quite worried. I was definitely gonna bring this up to him. I was like, my poor Kim and her Petaluma and her egg and her whole egg day and the egg queen and what was
Butter
gonna
and egg
butter and
parade.
egg day and everything. I was like, what's gonna happen to Petaluma's identity?
I did sign Julia up on when she was a baby for the cutest little chick contest at the Butter and Egg Day parade, and she didn't win. And I'm convinced that we were robbed. It was
I
chicks
can't
were
imagine.
in,
Julia
you
was
know?
so. I mean, not that she's not still
Yeah.
cute, but I saw Julia as a baby.
Yeah.
OMG. So
Yeah,
I
she was a
mean,
beauty.
come on now.
How
That
is she
the
not the
cute-
cutest little chick? Please.
Exactly. I mean, come on. So adorable. So well, good. I'm glad that everything is okay because I was
Okay.
quite worried.
The eggs
know-
are still flowing over here, although I will say that Petaluma, because we have so many ranches, farms, chicken
Mhm.
farms, and egg production, their culling of the chickens here because of the bird flu has been widespread. Thousands
Yeah.
and thousands and thousands of animals had to be killed because of the bird flu.
And can I just say this? And it just kind of makes me laugh. Okay. The chickens that you eat are
Mhm.
not the same chickens that you get
No.
your eggs from.
That's
Somebody in the comments was like, well, if there's such a shortage, then why is there not any shortage of the chickens that I ate? And I'm like, well, like it's kind of like, well, if you're eating them, then they're not freaking laying the freaking eggs, are they? Like, I was like the fact that people, it's because people are so separated from farms that they just don't get it. You know what I mean? And so I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to like really hate on because there was somebody on Facebook that I knew, and I was like, let's think about this together.
Last week on this very show, I think it was last week, we read a list of risks of getting bird flu, and among
Right.
them was not eating chicken because
Mhm.
chicken is cooked.
Yes.
And at a high temperature, there really
Right.
isn't a chance of spreading whatever. Not that you would want to eat an infected chicken,
Of course.
but there's a difference
yeah.
between cracking raw eggs and handling that kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? Versus eating a cooked chicken. So
Yeah, there's a difference. And again, I think that we're just so, and it's a weird time right now with, egg prices and our economy. So my daughter had her 16th birthday on Sunday.
Hey.
People that follow me on social media, so we gave her car. If you guys didn't hear, we bought my mother's it's an old 2004 Toyota Camry Solara. Okay. My mother never drove the friggin' thing. It had 50.
The car is 2 years older than your daughter. I mean, 2 years younger than your daughter.
It has 58,000 miles on it.
Oh,
my
no,
mom,
it's way older than your daughter. I'm sorry.
it's
Yeah.
2004. No, my daughter was born in 2011.
Yeah.
58,000 miles on it. That's all. 58,000 miles.
Wow.
My mom never drove it. It was the first car my mom actually ever had. Okay. But here's the thing. It's bright red. It's a bright red car. Yeah, it is like, and it's a Toyota Camry. Like it's a Toyota Camry Solara. It's old, but it's like a new car. Exactly. And you can and it's awesome because it's older. So you can get parts for it easy, all kinds of things. So
that's nice.
But
Julia,
you want to know what the funny thing is? So my daughter has been in this car because she's seen this car in the driveway for years. It's my mom's car, but we gave it to her and put a bow on it. Like she hasn't seen this car in the driveway, and she cried over this car like she'd never seen it before. Like we gave it to her, and it was the best moment.
Really
and I mean, it was so sweet. She absolutely loved it. I know, Sue-Ann. You want to know the truth though? The first car that I ever bought with my own money was also a red car, and I never got pulled over. You just gotta be
safe. The first car
safe.
I bought with my own money was a red convertible Mustang.
Yeah.
1995 convertible Mustang.
Safe,
I
but she
didn't
was
even know
so
how to
excited.
drive it.
It is what it is. If it was like gray, it would totally look safe, but it's bright ass red.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. Now she can't drive it yet by herself because she lagged on getting her permit, so she can't take her behind the wheel test till May. So but she can like practice on it. So when she's ready to go, she can do it. But yeah, so she got that. And then her big birthday party is this weekend. And she's very, very happy. And it went well. But I'm just saying, party planning in this day and age, Party City is closed. Finding balloons, not supporting Jeff Bezos on Amazon. It's harder and harder. Joann's Crafts closing all their stores. It's crazy right now. So they're in San Jose or Los Gatos, technically. Affordable Treasures is a store that we have now gone to many, many times. I've never been to it before. I'm doing a free ad for them. It's a great store. It has all kinds of crap. Costumes, party supplies, all kinds of stuff. Because there's no Party City anymore. I mean, and the dollar store, I guess, has balloons, but sometimes there's nobody even working the helium thing. You know what I mean? And they definitely don't have all the party supplies. It's harder and harder to get things in person and not go on Amazon. I'm just saying it sucks because if you want to boycott, like tomorrow's the economic blackout, if you don't want to support Jeff Bezos and you want to support local businesses, which is what they're asking you to do tomorrow, if you need to buy something, like don't go to big stores like Target or whatever. If you need to buy something local, yeah, dude, it's hard. Because all these, like, even Joann's Fabric is obviously a big chain, but they're closing. You can't even get crafts anymore. It sucks.
I don't know whether it was Colbert or Kimmel. One of them had a great line about every time a Joann's Fabrics closes down, a Halloween. What is that Halloween store?
A spirit store
Halloween opens in its place. Yeah.
It's like, ooh, the spirit rises. Exactly.
So I didn't go to Joann's for fabric. But they had like holiday stuff in there and stocking stuffer stuff in there.
I mean, Michael's still exists. Yeah. I mean, Michael's still exists and it's actually closer than Joann's. But Joann's, I made something recently and Michael's doesn't have like big like bolts of fabric. You know what I mean? Right. Joann's was where I needed to go. But it's just if you don't want to support Jeff Bezos and his asinine ass, or you just want to support local, it's hard. It's getting harder and harder to do. But yeah, it's tomorrow's the economic blackout. Do you think it's going to make much of a difference? I mean,
it makes a difference to my heart and soul. It makes me feel like, because people are asking, what can I do? Rather than just watch the world implode, what can I do? Technically, you probably bought stuff today that you needed for tomorrow. Or if you still need it after tomorrow, you'll buy it on Saturday. So how much of a difference does it make? It makes a statement. It makes us feel better. Good.
I think that what makes more of an impact, and I'm not saying that if, however you feel about DEI and things like that, like I've made a concerted effort, honestly, to try not to shop as much at Target. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I've walked into Target that much. I can't remember the last time I actually walked into Target.
I do the deliver it to my car all the time though.
But I'm just trying to, I don't know. I'm actually just trying to buy less in general. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just really trying to like make do with what I have. Anyway, but look, people need to buy things and the price of goods is going up. So I think if you make a concerted effort of what you buy and how you buy it, if you can buy off name brands, that makes a difference, right? Buy generic. Don't buy the name brands. Don't buy Coca-Cola, right? Like if you can buy off name brands, that makes a difference. Everything like that makes a difference. If you still need Coke, you still need toilet paper, but if you stop buying the name brands,
nobody needs Coke.
Well, whatever. You know what I mean?
But I hear what you're saying.
But if they see it, they'll feel it and it'll be just like you boycott it, right? Like I still need these things, but if you don't buy the name brand, it's like you still didn't go to the store. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So those sorts of things I think are going to make more of a difference. People still need to grocery shop, right? We're still going to need to go to the store, but I think it makes more of a difference to just not buy the big name brands than to act like we're never going to buy things ever again. Right. So, I don't know. Try your best. If you can't buy tomorrow, try.
There's also a 40-day boycott of Target.
Yeah, for Lent.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that.
You're that much of a Target shopper?
I don't shop at Walmart.
I don't shop at Walmart, but why do you have to shop at Target?
I mean, I guess I don't.
Go to the grocery store. What the hell do you have to buy at Target all the time?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very easy. Target
makes
it
that
easy.
Close to you?
Yeah.
Go to the grocery store.
Right across the street from my kid's school. I just order what I need. They bring it to the car. 5 minutes later, I'm off to pick up school
so
kids
does Safeway. So does Lucky. So does everything else.
Yeah.
Come on, Kim.
We can do it. We can do it.
You can do it. You can do it for 40 days and 40 nights. Come on now. You can totally do it. All right. I have a lighter story, and I love this story. It cracks me up so much. Okay. You've heard the phrase, time is money, right? You've heard this phrase. Okay. I love this dude. This guy, he's a guy after my own heart. Now, this wasn't in America. Okay. This was in Bangalore. Okay. It's an Indian man. He complained of mental agony. Okay. And this was because he had to sit through long commercials before a movie. Okay.
I love this story. This is the best.
Okay. So he's a 31-year-old lawyer by the name of Abhishek MR. I don't know if I said his name right. Okay. So let's just call him Abby. Okay. So Abby is a lawyer from the southern city of Bangalore. And he said he decided to take action against PVR Inox chain after he was forced to cancel a work call because the movie ran beyond when he thought it would finish. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I have always hated this. So whenever I go to the movies with the kids, you're like, it's a 2-hour long movie. I always factor in an extra half an hour.
Yeah.
Because you have to factor in the damn trailers. But they are also now putting in a bunch of effing commercials. So now I will say this guy really kind of cut it close. So he said he claimed his time was wasted and that he suffered mental agony as a result of the 25 minutes of commercials that preceded a 2023 screening. He went to see this military biopic, and the schedule said the movie had a running time of 2 hours and 25 minutes. Damn long movie, by the way. And so he said he scheduled a work call. It started at 4:05. He scheduled a work call for 6:30. 4 to 5, 5 to 6. That's cutting it effing close. I'm like, dude, you didn't give yourself one buffer, but whatever. He didn't. He said he missed the call because the movie did not end until around 7 because of trailers, advertisements, and other fillers, which wasted nearly 30 minutes of his time. He also counted 2 public service announcements and 17 commercials before the movie started. That seems to be...
That's egregious.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
He says it amounted to unfair trade practice and sued for $574 in damages and another $57 for mental agony and another $115 to cover legal costs.
Mental agony.
I love that. But he says, the time is money. Basically, he says people with tight schedules don't have time to waste. I think he has a total point.
Well, as Vicky says, you already paid money to get into the movies.
Right.
You didn't pay that you could sit in the seat and watch commercials.
Right.
You paid to see the movie. So how rude. On the other hand, let me just back up the movie house for a second. These theaters, we've seen a lot of them close post-pandemic, right?
Right.
Big movie companies, big theater companies, I should say. And so if sitting through a few, not 17, but a few commercials helps keep these places open, okay, whatever. I'll just show up a few minutes late or know that I'm going to be scrolling on my phone for a couple minutes, ignoring what you have on the screen, and that's fine.
I mean, I don't, like Sandy says, I hate excessive previews at the movies. I don't mind 1 or 2, but it pisses me off when there's a bunch of them. I like previews. I will say this for the people that make the previews. I hate when they give, like, sometimes I'm like, why do I have to go see the movie? You just literally told me the whole movie right then and there. The commercials, though, like if I wanted to watch a commercial, I'd just stay at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the same time, like there has to be a balance. Like if you tell me that the movie starts at 7 and I have to sit until 7:30 until the movie starts,
Right.
that's not fair, right? Like, dude, not to mention like I'm planning my drink and my pee schedule. Like, you know what I mean? Like my he sat through a 2.5 hour long movie. I could have peed again, right? Like I wouldn't have drank my whole drink, but there's also factor that in. I wouldn't have eaten all my candy. I wouldn't have had all my popcorn. You know, the minute you sit down, you start eating again, right?
Yeah.
So it could also be like now they upsell you. Now I got to go get another refill. So I think that this guy has a total point.
At your movie, Calvin's like, I have to get good seats. Like I wouldn't want to show up late. But at the movies,
I secure my seats.
It's all assigned seating. So when I buy a ticket, I select the seats that I want, and those are my seats.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a movie theater in San Jose where you don't assign your seat anymore.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a theater that they don't? I don't think that there's a movie theater that I go to anymore where you don't buy your seat in specific seat.
Yeah.
I
don't know. It is annoying. I will say it is annoying because you feel like you paid to get into the movies, and so you shouldn't have the commercials, shoved at you. But really, how many billions does he want?
Well, he didn't want billions. He got like hundreds of dollars. You know what I mean? Like in our money. Yeah. So he was ordered to pay $1,148 to the Consumer Welfare Fund, which protects consumers.
Okay.
He had to pay 200. They had to pay 230 damages and another $92 in costs. That was, and then the delay he contended. So yeah, he didn't get like a ton of money, I guess, in US dollars. I don't know if it's a lot in his country, but I mean, it wasn't a ton of money in our way of thinking. But I think I made a point, like, dude, or just tell me, when does the actual movie start? And I don't think it'll stop people from coming early. Just like, people are saying, I don't want to get there when the movie starts because I don't want to walk in the dark. Also watch some of your ads. Also watch some of I like some previews, so I'll get there before, but I'm not going to sit through 30 minutes.
I like guilty pleasure. I like the movie trivia that happens before the lights go down. And
yes,
before
some people like that.
I do like that a lot. I know.
Right? Make it interesting. Say, there's going to be commercials. Maybe there'll be giveaways. Maybe there'll be, do something like that. Like, hey, we're going to give out popcorn or we're gonna have giveaways if people come early during the commercials. Like, do something like that so people will come early, but don't make it so I have to sit through your stupid ass commercials all the time, because that's freaking lame. Not a half an hour. That's bullshit. So I think I like that guy. I think that was I agree with the agony. I think that was really, really stupid, and he has a total point. So I love it.
Oh, speaking of doing a commercial for people that haven't paid you, there's this new place in Petaluma, and it's called Mr. Stroop Waffle.
I love Stroop waffles. I've
never heard of it before, but someone just came in. Julia just came in.
You don't know what a Stroop waffle is?
No, and I've
Do you have a cup of coffee?
No, but look at that's huge.
You need a cup of coffee.
Can I bite it?
Well, okay, but you're not gonna get the full effect.
It's like a caramel filled
flat. You need. Okay, wait.
I don't love it.
I know, because you're not doing it right. What you need.
Sorry, Mr. Stroop Waffle.
No. You need a cup of coffee. So what you're supposed to do, or tea. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to have like a hot cup of coffee or tea. And you're supposed to put, you can, but you're supposed to put it on top of it. And what it does is the heat from the coffee melts the caramel and softens the cookie a little bit. And so then when you bite it, it's soft and it's kind of melty. Oh, those are bomb. But yeah, you're supposed to like warm it with your coffee and tea. It's really, really yummy, but you're not doing it right. I was like, you're not doing it right. I was like, no, you're not doing it right.
You come in and hand me this giant box that says Stroop Waffle.
Oh, I love them. I have them during the holidays. They come in little packets, much smaller. That looks really big. So you'd have to have like a big cup of coffee or like a big cup. I guess you could just put it on your thing and it'll just warm up the middle. But yeah, they're yummy. yeah, to try it with a cup of coffee. It's way better. Way better.
Like, what is it? Is that a waffle?
Yeah, so it's a thin waffle. And how they make it is they actually press it and then they have a little knife. And if you watch how they make it, I've seen many things. Yeah. And they'll just gently slice it. And it's really, really yummy. They're so good. Yeah. They're so good.
See the ridges on there?
They're so good. They're really, 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 yeah. But you have to have it with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, whatever you like. Yum. Now you're making me hungry for one. They're so good. I usually just have them during Christmas, though. I buy them for everybody. And we all sit around.
Little bitty ones at Cost Plus. These are huge.
Yeah, that looks really, really big. I've never seen them that big. That's a new store in Petaluma?
Bad boy and rum. Yeah. It's like it just opened. It's just had its grand opening, I guess. And I had never been in there, but I guess my family went.
Oh.
And they have, it's right next to the crumble cookie place.
Oh, crumble cookies overrated.
So, I know, I think so too. But they're big like that. They're big like a crumble cookie.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, then you would definitely, if you have one of those big coffee cups, or you could just use a regular coffee cup and it'll warm the middle of it.
Look at it in relation to my face. That's pretty big.
That's really big. That's a really, really, really big.
Size of my hand. It's the size of my hand.
Well, that's a really cool place. I've never heard of that. That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so very much for being here. Let's give some thank yous because a lot of you donated to the show today, and we appreciate it. Vicky, thank you so much for the $10 donation. We appreciate you. Luis, you came in several times today.
Yep.
$5 there, another $5 there. Nick came in with $20. I love the chainsaw comment. Thank you so much for the $20. Pamela came in with $10. Thank you. Jim, love you seeing you here. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. Harry, love you as well. $10 donation. Yes. Well, Musk, please leave for Mars and take Donnie with you, please. From your lips to God's ears, please. Luis with another $5 donation. Thank you guys so very much. We are again 100% crowdfunded. So if you want to support the show, all the details always in the show notes, or you can go to thenikkimadoroshow.com. PayPal is the best way to support us, or you can become a monthly subscriber to our Patreon. We love you guys so very much. And again, the super chat and the super stickers are always live, whether we're live or we are recorded. And if you love barbecue sauce like we do, go to auntietabi's.com. Guava barbecue sauce is delicious. And if you use the coupon code NickKim, NIKKIM, you get 10% off every single time you order. So it's absolutely delicious and we love it. And thank you to auntietabi's.com for being one of our sponsors. All right, you guys, thank you so much. We will be back on Thursday. I'll tell you all about our fabulous birthday party for my daughter. And hopefully Donald Trump hasn't burned the whole freaking thing down. All right. Love you guys. Take care of your mental health. To take a break when you need it. And we will see you next week. Mwah. Love you. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.